Mind your e-holes, Raam's shadow looms over us like a big dominating daddy, and he's here to krill all over our cog. Hello Gears and Gaming fans, KDB here for Gears Intel, a Gears of War fan show talking all things Gears and that which is adjacent. Today's episode is a dive back into the DLC of yesteryear as we relish in the good old days of the 360 and give our retrospective visit to Raam's shadow from Gears of War 3. Joining me on the show today are my co-hosts. First, he's so sick of Xbox and their shenanigans, they recently called up Satya Nadella to tell him he'd be interested in investing in AI. And, oh wait, no, sorry, that wasn't AI, that was just his Scottish accent. And he was saying, "Aye, we do think Microsoft is going to haunt you forever, you big dafty. It's David Smiley."
Oh, that was a torture. We got there. Yeah.
I didn't want to do the accent though, so yeah.
I thought you were going like AI the new. Is where you were going.
AI the new.
I thought about it.
I don't think I've ever heard David say dafty before.
Also, he's so in love with cheeky little clowns that he tattooed Jimbo from Balatro on his arm, meaning that every time he goes to sleep, he could snuggle up to that sexy circus dweller as he dreams of massive malts and big yellow bananas. It is Alex Aldridge. Hello, Alex.
Hello, sir.
How are we?
Yeah, I mean, I was dreaming of those big yellow bananas already anyway, so I thought I might as well make it, part of me.
Of course, yeah.
I'm back on that again. I can't. I've returned to the Balatro.
I've been trying to get like all the Jokers that I don't have yet. I mean, one of them you have to get like 100 million in a hand, so I think that's a fruitless endeavor.
How?
Well, probably the way David had it, where he had that insane combination of Jokers, like the dream combo. But I've been trying to get like the one where you have to have like 40 of one suit. So I've just been like spamming diamonds and spamming spades. Again, this is all in the game. That's out of context. That's a really weird thing to try and do. Spam spades, just chucking them in your
Fabulous.
But other than oversleeping and making this recording go later than it should have done, which I will be forever apologetic for, I'm fine.
Is that why you put a Fallout t-shirt on to sort of appease?
Yeah, an unironed one. Jesus Christ, what's wrong with me?
I was telling David before we started, I've got a new Mortal Kombat one that I got from TK Maxx for $9.99, which I was very pleased with.
Well done, TK Maxx. I didn't know they did sick gaming merch in there.
Yeah, from time to time.
This is exactly. I think this is how our conversation pre-recording exactly how it went as well, Alex. So you're echoing my sentiments exactly.
Nice. What are you wearing, babe?
What am I wearing?
Well, yeah. You mean you're the one we don't know about?
Yeah.
That's nothing gaming related. I've just got a jumper on that I got at a CrossFit thing a few weeks ago.
Looks pretty comfy, which is probably what you need up there. Is there like 17 inches of snow still, or?
It's almost gone. We have like chunks of it going about, and it's a balmy 3 degrees this morning. So
I was joking. I didn't expect there to actually still be snow.
Yeah, it's still there.
Man.
I was genuinely worried because you were posting about it, and then it came on the news. I was like, "That's where David is." Like, David, are you okay?
What kind of news you might
say? Fine. Just kind of used to it by now.
Yeah, they've shut. Well, no, this is genuinely the worst I've ever seen it in my life, I think. But they've like closed a road that sort of runs to the nearest town, but I've just been driving it and nothing happened, so I don't know why it's closed.
I love going through a road closed side and getting away with it.
Yeah. I never. You never
it's not
trust
illegal,
them.
but it's naughty.
Like this can't be closed. I'm going to drive 2 miles down here to prove it wrong, and then it's closed, and you have to turn around.
Yep.
Happy belated New Year to you both. We are here.
No, it's too late for that. It's too late for that.
It is too late for that, but. What are we doing here today? So yeah, as I mentioned at the start, we're going to talk about Raam's Shadow, Gears of War DLC. There is a tiny bit of news. We should just talk about this quickly. So this was just before Christmas at the end of the year, an Xbox wrap-up. David, over to you, to the cog hole. We're scraping again, but there's some news there.
Back in the musty cog hole again, because we've not been here in a while. It's dank, it's got some cobwebs, and apparently it's had a good krilling in the intervening months, so it's bad down here. But yes, the Gears of War. Where's our news? Here we go. I annoyingly, I always feel like I get caught chasing my arse when it comes to this news, and I was like, no, I'm gonna make sure I'm ready to go. And now you've caught me not ready to go.
Can we adopt a good krilling as a nice what is that, a verb? Can we keep that?
To krill.
Yeah, mate, I had a right krilling last night. That's why I overslept.
The Gears of War movie's finally going ahead. They've got a director confirmed, but it's not coming out in 2026. If I am correct, the director is going to be, is it David Leitch, who is known for John Wick and Deadpool?
Yeah, he is, but this isn't the news that we're talking about.
Are we not? What are we talking about? Did you not just say there was news?
Yeah, wait. Well, have I linked you something to the wrong thing?
If I think, I was going to say, because I
can see Blizzard Activision King 2025 games. Thank you, text.
Have you got last episode open, David?
I've got last episode open. I was going to say, I did read the news, and I was like, have I just missed an entire page of news?
No,
mate. No, you know what happened? You know what happened? Your Google Doc took a right krill in.
It did.
It absolutely krilled all over itself. 2 seconds.
That's a different kind of verb there now. Fucking hell. Krilled all over itself.
Okay, back in the krill hole / cog hole. I guess it's probably, we play as Raam in this DLC, so it could be the krill hole for today.
Indeed.
The coalition say that E-Day is their most ambitious game yet. This is coming from, was it an interview over on news.xbox.com? The director of the game, who is called, it says it in this interview, and I've lost it. It's like Crump or something, like Phil Crump or something.
It's Mike Crump.
There we go. So he was. I knew it was something like that. He was asked the question, what is the studio most looking forward to in 2026? So full of marketing speak, he comes back with, the next year marks the 20th anniversary of Gears of War, and they can't think of a bigger way to celebrate than with the release of Gears of War E-Day. This is our most ambitious game yet, entirely built from scratch on Unreal Engine 5 to feel like the Gears of War game, to feel like Gears and play like new, whatever that means. This is a return to our roots, and Marcus and Dom face the Locust for the first time ever. It's the best place to jump into the Gears universe, and we can't wait to share more next year. To me, that's the best. That's the most interesting part of the news, is he says that it's a great place to jump in, which I suppose it is, given that this is sort of D-Day in the Gears
universe. Even though they just
released
the original game on PS5 anyway.
Yeah, and I think the idea being
the current best place to jump in.
Yeah.
Please jump in.
This when E-Day announced, it's like, look, it's not Gears of War 6, which might scare some people off. It's like, no, you can start here, so that makes sense.
It's Yakuza 0.
Yeah, exactly. So I picked E-Day on my Fantasy Critic for this year, and I do wonder if it's the thing that's going to bite me in the backside, because I would love it to come out this year, and they're saying that it's coming out this year. We still have seen nothing from it. Alex, do you think it's actually going to come out this year?
No. Just because I won't want you to win Fantasy Critic again. It would be a very big oversight if they don't get it released in the anniversary year, as they've just said. Mm-hmm. We don't seem to have anything else in the pipeline for Gears at the moment to cover that cog hole up. As the movie is not going to be coming out this year, from as we learned from last episode and some of this episode that's probably been cut out. So it's not going to be in the Dev Direct. No. So we're going to have to hope that we see it in Jeff Keighley's Twatathon later on in the year.
Well, Xbox, they've been doing
or another Direct. So
they do for the past, I guess, 3 or 4 years, they do their showcase, and then they tag on like a 45-minute deep dive to a game. So they did Outer Worlds, Starfield, Call of Duty, possibly Forza as well, for like motorsport. So I do wonder if this year it might be, if we're going to get a deep dive, it'll be then. But then it's like, are we really going to see nothing of the game until, assumedly, a couple of months before it comes out at that point? So it's weird. But
I guess in an anniversary year, they've kind of got carte blanche to just be like, drop it whenever they want. Sort of like, we're having another Direct, and it's just about E-Day. Happy anniversary, Gears. Or
and I do like
there is that.
I do like that. I would rather, but we saw the E-Day trailer like this June will be 2 years ago, and it's like I would have rather that it wasn't that long of a gap. But either way, David, they said it's going to be the biggest ever. Is that just something that they always say in this type of situation?
Oh, they always say stuff like that, don't they? I don't know. Can I be controversial? Given the last sort of the Halo remastered again and the Oblivion remaster, I'm not sure I like the way those games look, and that's Unreal Engine 5. So I'm hoping to see some actual art style rather than the classic Unreal Engine 5 sheen that video games seem to have these days. So I'm hopeful.
And all the performance problems that it comes with that as well.
So hopefully, if it does come out this year, they have properly, I don't know, finished it and polished it, but not in the shiny way.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Let's hope they've properly finished it. I mean, that is a genuine concern for every game that comes out. Listen to ourselves.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Well, I think this is like we've spoken about this before. Like the because of the sort of cadence or lack thereof of releases, I think this is actually quite an important game for the Coalition and Gears of War as a franchise. If they don't stick this landing properly, I think they're going to start to hear a lot of questions about the future of the franchise.
Like Halo had, right?
Halo, yeah. So I think if we do get it this year, I hope it's because it's ready and not because they need to hit a deadline on a spreadsheet for some board members later in the year.
Agreed.
Definitely.
Cool. Well, let's keep moving because we could whinge about E-Day all day long. Let me scroll here. So, the Xbox Direct is coming up, and it's not going to be there, so possibly wait till later in the year. But
you'll get some. By the way, you'll get some wipes at the door on your way out of the cog hole to clean yourself down.
Thanks. Yeah.
Get one of those.
A little
like
pumped
wall mounted hand sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer.
Wipe the Kryll off.
Wipe the Kryll off your cog. Main talking point of today. Yes, we've dived back to 2011. We're here to talk some DLC, the Gears of War 3 DLC. So again, people, just to reiterate what we do or what we try to do on this show, when we cover the games and we cover the DLC, the books, all this stuff, we are working our way through the universe in chronological order to the best of our knowledge. Which means that, so we're off the back of the last thing we covered game-wise was Tactics, which is set before this, and now we arrive at Gears of War 3 DLC Raam's Shadow, which is set 9 years after E-Day, and before Gears of War 1, after Judgment, all that kind of stuff. So for those that don't know, who have never experienced the DLC, I'm sure most of you have that are listening to this. If you haven't, go and play it because it's only a few hours long, and then come and listen to us talk about it. Raam's Shadow is a story-driven DLC for Gears of War 3, released in December 2011. It serves as a prequel set 9 years after Emergence Day. Much of Sarah is still intact and not in complete ruins, and the DLC, instead of following Marcus and Delta Squad, focuses on Zeta Squad, a COG unit with a few familiar faces, led by Minh Young Kim, with Michael Barrick from the Gears of War comic series, Tai Kaliso from Gears of War 2, and also includes a new female gear, Alicia Valera. The DLC shows how they attempt to evacuate civilians from the city of Ilima while the Locust Horde tears it apart. What sets Raam's Shadow apart, though, is its focus on General Raam himself. For the first time, players can control Raam during certain sections, hunting COG soldiers with Kryll as a weapon, giving players a rare chance to see a Locust perspective in action. It adds weight to Raam as a villain and his original appearance in Gears of War. It's quite short, but it is sort of broadly remembered as one of the strongest DLCs in Gears of War's history. But I mean, there's not been many in terms of story. I think there might have only been 2. I'm sure I'm not imagining that. The rest of them are all multiplayer stuff and things like that. Yeah. So, but it was basically an expansion to Gears of War 3's already pretty big package. Prequel DLC set after Judgment and Tactics, and set before the next piece of coverage, which we're going to do, which is The Slab, which is a book. But before we get to that, Raam's Shadow is...
the name of the DLC confused the living hell out of me. It's like...
Me too.
Yes. So
why have they done that? Because Sorry.
I think, why is it called Raam's Shadow Pack 2?
It's something
is it just was in a pack with some other stuff?
Possibly, but it's this is like ages ago with this 360 DLC, when you would buy season passes and there'd be like pack 1, pack 2, I don't know, something like that, but it did confuse us. Before we talk about story and characters and gameplay and all this kind of stuff, first experiences is this was my third time playing it through. I originally played it back when it came out in 2011. I actually played it again last year because I was getting some achievements and things like that. And I played it again for the podcast. But David, is this your first time with Raam's Shadow?
Yeah, I was popping achievements, so it must be. And I certainly had no memory of having played it. So, yes, first experience of it, which I'm surprised about, because if you'd asked me prior to this, had I played all the DLC for all the Gears games, I would have said yes. So apparently not.
Yeah, it's a bit of a sleeper one. Alex, is it your first time with Raam's Shadow as well?
Yeah. I don't think I even realised it existed, to be honest.
I've got
it's a good qualifier for being on a Gears of War podcast, but yeah, I was pleasantly surprised to find that this existed.
Yeah, I've got some pictures of. I suppose when it came out in 2011, this is when we didn't have screenshots. I was taking pictures of the screen playing Raam's Shadow, obviously, because I was so excited about playing it at the time. And my big
were you like selfieing with the screen?
No,
in the background?
like I wasn't
when you were krilling someone. You're like,
I was just taking pictures of the screen. I'll dig them out and try and drop them into the video. Of my big CRT. I talked about this before. I didn't play anything in HD until like 2013, probably.
Oh yeah, because you couldn't read Dead Rising.
No, I couldn't read Dead Rising, and I was just still enjoying a massive chunky CRT when I was playing this. So that was my first experience, but I've quite enjoyed going through it again. But with that in mind, let's break it down. Let's start with stories and characters. As I mentioned, it is a short affair. But there's stuff going on in here, and I think, for me, it definitely offers a few specific things which I think are both quite important and quite enjoyable. But, David, let's start with you. Just overall, was there any standouts from this, the story that plays out? As mentioned, the setup is the characters have been kind of deployed to help evacuate the city as the Locust are tearing it down around them. So did you have any main takeaways, which characters stuck out for you, or anything you didn't like about the story for Raam's
story-wise, I actually think I quite enjoyed it. So I'm sort of, to set you, or to set the listeners up to where I sort of am. I used to be quite a voracious absorber of Gears of War lore and books and things like that. And then I think I'd sort of, at some point after 3, I just fell off. So I'm quite interested, as we're going through this in a chronological order, to sort of experience it all again. Some of it I'll be reading and listening and playing for the first time. Some of it will be stuff I've already done. But what I enjoyed was there's some characters in here that I either don't remember or are new to me. But it was nice to have characters that you recognise. So you encounter Jace at some point, who I remember from the comic books, I think. It was
he's
cool
in
to
3
see
as well, right?
He is in 3 as well. Yeah, he's in the main
Voiced by
campaign.
Michael B. Jordan.
Indeed.
I didn't expect him to turn up.
Not in this game, though.
He was a nice thing to see. And also, I'm interested to go back and play Gears of War 3 proper, because I don't remember Tai being as annoying as he was in this DLC. He just spoke in riddles the entire time. I don't remember him doing that before. And I was sort of echoing the main character's, like, what are you talking about sentiment the whole time I was going through this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved it. It was great.
Ty's not in 3 because stuff happens to him in 2.
He's in 2. Okay, sorry. I'm getting my games mixed up.
He's definitely a fan favourite, but I'm going to talk about Tai a little bit in a minute. But he is in it. I'm sure he should have been in this a bit more. But for me, I mean, story-wise, yes, it's brief, but I've been doing my best to think. I was like, right, I can't. It's not just it's just an evacuation story. Let me really look at this. So obviously, the main thing is these characters. Well, no, okay. Let's start with the fact that what's happening is the whole time you're playing this, what kind of sets this apart from, say, the main games, from what I can remember, is in those main campaigns, you're generally trying to take the Locust down and solve this massive problem. Whereas here, it's not really about that. It's like, no, you're all fucked and this city is being taken over and you need to get as many civilians out as possible. You're evacuating. That's the plan here. They're on the back foot. The COG are on the back foot. There's this kind of inevitability of there's nothing you can do. You just got to take what you can and get out of there. And then Raam is kind of pictured as this, he's the villain, but he's just like, he's the destructive force. He's like this force of nature. He's like a disaster that's bringing the city down, which the more I played, and by the time I got to the end of it, I was like, that is so cool. Because although there's not, Raam obviously doesn't die at the end of the DLC, and it can feel a little bit like all to be continued and stuff. But in terms of adding that context and what these things can do for...
It adds weight to the encounter between Kim and Raam at the start of the first game, right?
That was my favourite bit for sure.
That scene is so cool, and how Ty's... I think it's Ty's, like, not today, or Barrick, as today's not the day, or something like that. And this is what a DLC like this can do. It can bring in characters that we know, and give more sort of weight to them and give more context to these many points in the history. And David and I were talking about this before recording, how Gears of War is spoilt in the ways that other franchises aren't, where its lore and its history, it pretty much has all of its ducks in a row pretty well with the graphic novels and the books, and there's lots of crossover and the way it dips in and out. So to bring characters like Barrick into a game who had already been established in a graphic novel is awesome. To bring back people like Ty, I think overall, I'll talk a bit more about characters in a minute, but that was my main thing, is playing this. This is different to a campaign. It's like, I feel like, there's nothing I can do. I'm racing through this, and from the Locust story side, it's weird because you're, maybe this is more of a gameplay thing, but you're tearing apart the COG soldiers, and it's like, oh, this is fun to do as a Locust, but also I felt really bad. I was like, wow, this is brutal. Like, we're just slaughtering these soldiers with the Kryll, and that's very much what the story of this DLC is about. It's like, no, the COG are screwed. This is them trying to do what they can to get as many survivors out, and then leave and get out of there, because Raam and the Locust are, that's it. That's the force of nature that's tearing it apart. So I really liked that it's different from the main games where, like, you always kind of believe, the team's going to win and take it down. Here was more of this is this little story of these quote unquote heroes in this history trying to do their job and trying to save people. So I really enjoyed it from that perspective. But Alex, what's your sort of overall view of the story here in the DLC?
Yeah, I did find that that quite amusing, that I'm with the COG trying my best to kind of get everybody out and rectify the situation, but then I'm also just exacerbating it in the next scene. Just kind of like, as you're playing with Raam and having loads of fun, stabbing dudes and eviscerating them with Kryll, you're thinking, aren't I just undoing all the good work that I've just done with Barrick and his lads? But oh well, this is fun still. My favourite part, definitely, which was just briefly touched upon, was the encounter with Kim. In Gears 1, when he gets stabbed in the back by Raam, it's definitely like an oh shit moment of fucking hell. Like, he's just taken out the leader. That's, either a bit of serendipity on his part, or he just picked the first random guy he could. Whereas this, now you can see that this was full on targeted assassination, because, through revenge sort of thing. And I loved that little tiny setup there. But other than that, I can't really add too much to what you guys have already said.
Presumably, Alex, the way in which Raam kills the female character in this game, sorry, I've forgotten her name.
Alicia Valera.
It's incredibly reminiscent to me of the way Kim goes down in the Gears War. Gears 1.
Yeah.
I'm presuming that's deliberate.
Yeah.
Is that foreshadowing? Is that
yeah,
what you
probably.
call that?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
So on that note, so these characters are funny because, and Alicia is an interesting one because she's kind of, it's good and bad. She is put there to be the character that's killed for shock value in that
She's the old red shirt, yeah.
Yeah, and they try really hard throughout this to establish her as someone who is like massively respected by Barrick. He's constantly kind of like, that they have quite a bit of back and forth. And the way she is with Jace as well, she's presented as this very skilled soldier. And then they do this bit where it's like the scene just before she is killed. She's talking about her younger brother growing up and enlisting, and then Barrick's like, oh, he's going to have a kick-ass sister to help, guide him through and stuff like this. It's like they've got such a short period of time to try and make you care about this character dying, and I appreciate they tried to do that. It's cool. What you said there about the foreshadowing and the way that he kills her, that's kind of the bigger impact of that moment for me, rather than me being bothered that she died. So it's a shame that they can't do more, but it's a short DLC. But I do like that they tried to establish her.
Yeah, they gave her like a lot of the screen time, even though you're not playing as her.
Yeah.
So it kind of like they fed a lot of the interactions through her.
Yeah.
That you were having within Zeta Squad.
Yeah.
So I thought that was, as you said, that was pretty much the best endeavours that they could have done to get her somewhat meaningful before the inevitable.
Yeah. Barrick, I think, is at times absolutely mature cheddar cheese type line delivery, but he's got this
just with a New York accent.
He's got like a Jesse Ventura nature about him as well, and like he's a man's man from an 80s movie like Predator or something like that.
Definitely.
He's really cool. My issue with Tai was, it's like, I think he was plopped in here because he is a fan favourite, but like you said, David, he's a little bit of a parody of himself, and he's kind of wandering around and doesn't have much to do. And in hindsight...
So he doesn't get me up very often.
No.
Fucking idiot.
In hindsight, I wonder if it should have been his deal. He should have led the DLC instead of Barrick, but I don't know. I mean, that's not what they did, so it's fine. But,
possibly. I just felt I didn't really explain myself very well. I just felt like he spoke almost entirely in cliches. He never really had a conversation with anyone beyond like repeating what I assume is like one of his granny's.
Yeah, just wistful rhetoric, and then off we go.
I just felt like he offered nothing beyond wistful rhetoric.
Yeah.
He's like he had the Native Indian handbook that he was just reading.
He's not in Gears 2 a lot, but it's like I think he had such a big impact, and obviously his death is incredibly dark and brutal. In Gears 2.
There's a line he says. What is it like? Oh, I can't remember. He said something about. Oh, I can't remember. If I remember, I'll say it. But
sure.
I was playing it, and he said something that basically just flew in the face of the way he goes out into.
And as you both said, like I think this does a lot for Kim because it obviously that ending scene is really good, but it just establishes Kim as this competent soldier, whereas it can feel in a bit like Gears 1. It's like, oh, this idiot's just got himself killed straight away, and it's like no, he was smart and he was involved, and he's got a lot of history here as well. So that's what it tries to do with these characters, and I think for the most part, and it's bringing Barrick over from the graphic novels, and I think it solidifies him pretty well here as well. But in the amount of time they had to make these characters interesting, it's not hit and miss. It's better than that. I think it's pretty solid, and I had fun generally with all of the characters. If I was a little bit annoyed with the use of Tai, but outside of that, before we move on to something like gameplay, I do think. Story-wise, there's something to touch on here in terms of, as I said in the intro, the city isn't destroyed. So here we are in Ilima City, and you're going to little different locations while everything is still kind of intact. And it's really nice to see that. And there is environmental storytelling all over the place, particularly in somewhere like the school. I don't know what you guys thought about this, but it looks like the school has kind of been used as like a temporary infirmary or something like that. There's like... It looks like there's hospital beds around and stuff, and just the way that everything is kind of still there, but just left behind and abandoned, a bit like Chernobyl. I really thought that stuff was really cool.
I thought the environmental storytelling was really strong in this. I think all the locations had something about them that was interesting.
They really, really tried, I think, to... and it says a lot about the design as well, which we'll touch on, but that sort of Art Deco stuff and this style. And I think you were talking about something before we recorded, David, about we were talking about TV shows and how Netflix doesn't have style or something, or the style of shows and what they work with. And I think Gears of War is spoilt for this kind of stuff, because even just the doors you're going through are really cool, and I enjoyed that. But I'm jumping ahead a little bit there. But I suppose my wrap up thoughts though on the story are, in terms of what makes it good or worthwhile is, does it add anything? And I feel it does, because in those small ways we've talked about with the characters and giving context to them, that's cool. But it actually does a couple of things for, I suppose, the Gears of War lore nerds, if you like, which I'm not really, that's not really what I am. I love Gears of War and I love learning more about the story. But there's a couple of things in this that you see for the first time, like this DLC establishes, not necessarily exclusively, but how the Cedars are deployed with this Tremor Locust and his big mallet and hammer. And it's something that we've not seen before. So I thought, that was really cool to see. And this, taking characters from graphic novels and putting them in the games and the stories is really good to see. And I think this DLC and the story that it tries to tell is just an example of the kind of thing that we maybe could have got more of at other times across the Gears of War games. And you want to see a little thing like this because it has so much to pull from these different points in history. And I know what I was going to say is a franchise like Resident Evil, where its lore and story and history is so inconsistent across the games that it's just kind of, it's insane. Whereas Gears, I think, deserves credit for, no, they've set out to do a story DLC and they're like, right, let's actually pick and choose these points in the universe that we've established and these characters and make it mean something. So I think it does a decent amount for the characters that we know, and tries to chuck a few little lore bits in there as well, whilst offering something slightly different than the let's take down the big bad guy. It's like, no, actually we're just trying to be the heroes and rescue the civilians. So I was pretty happy with it despite it being short. But David, do you have any more?
You can't.
Sorry, no, Alex, you go ahead.
I say, well, you can't. Yeah, you obviously couldn't base a DLC with Raam in it around anything other than that. And another thing that it does, obviously, as you know, you're not going to defeat him at the end. I mean, we kind of send him on his way with a, piss and vinegar in tow, but it definitely gives more weight to his character in one when you can see how powerful he actually is. So that part of it is what more of what this was based around, wasn't it? It's more around, let's just make him even more of a presence for when you actually go back to one again and see him, because you know what he was capable of and what he's actually done, and the experiences against the cog that he's had leading up to that point, rather than focusing on the cog, really. I would have said. But I also really like as you mentioned, the sort of multimedia crossover, to have this connected universe of everything in the lore, like adding characters into the game from graphic novels rather than the other way around, which I guess is how most other games are going to do things. They're just going to spin off into that and then look, here's whatever. This bringing them back into the games from somewhere else is one of the coolest things they could do. It
just adds so much more value and meaning to the making those characters in the first place. It's like, they're not just being limited to these pages. Like, no, they exist in this world. You just happen to be the window you were looking through at one point was these pages of a graphic novel, and now here they are in a game. And then I look at something like the Fallout TV show, which although doesn't necessarily directly have well, it does have characters from the games now, actually. Tell a lie. No spoilers for Fallout Season 2, though. It's creating a story that can exist within that world of those Fallout games. And Gears of War has so many characters and points in its history that it can play from. And it feels... I was playing this just like, it feels like they've thought about it. They've not just kind of farted out the DLC. They've got their lore master at the studio that's saying, let's use this and let's do this with this character. Do you know what I mean?
And it adds value to the media you've already consumed. If you'd read the graphic novel, I assume that came out before. Well, it must have come out before this, because that's the point of him being in the game from it, isn't it? So it adds value to the external media that they've created alongside of it. So it's not just like that graphic novel meant something as well, because now look, it's now being incorporated into the games. It's worth your time. It was worth our time to create it. So the synergy there is really, really impressive.
Yes, absolutely. Before I drop a little bit of trivia, David, do you have any sort of wrap-up thoughts on the story of this DLC?
I don't know. I've been trying to think whether this is story or gameplay, but I suppose to sort of try and keep it story-related, I kind of thought they've done quite a good job of walking the tightrope. Like, if you're creating a DLC that's obviously to sort of give players a new way to play, set the scene for Raam, and sort of give a bit of background around the beginning of the first Gears of War game. You're allowing players to play. You allow players to play as Raam, presumably to set him up as the destructive force that he is throughout certainly Gears of War 1. So you need to make him extremely powerful, but he's also double-siding as the sort of big bad of the DLC. So he was always going to sort of be the main boss at the end of the game. So you need to find a way of creating this sort of all-powerful destructive force that is filled with menace and create a sense of fear around him without diminishing that by having him get his ass kicked at the end of the DLC. And I think they do a good job of sort of bridging they sort of put him over without making him look weak at the same time.
Yeah. And
nicely set up again, like we've spoken about the beginning at least of Gears of War 1.
Yes. It's so we've actually obviously we covered that Raam graphic novel as well, which we said the similar sort of things, and it's Gears of War 1 in hindsight. He looks almost like just this big bumbling idiot that is really kind of hard to deal with, and he's not that, and the graphic novel does that. And this again, it's like this is still like a good 5 years before Gears of War 1, so he's still learning. That seems like a weird way to talk about him, but he's learning and dealing with these strong characters in the COG army and getting bested it's just cool to see him having to deal with that, and seeing him go down on his knees and stuff in the battle at the end. It's just little things. It's like it feels like the younger, less experienced Raam. Despite
I think having the Queen sort of having her dish out like tactical advice and give out orders helps with that as well.
Yeah. It's also whether by design or not, the final fight against him was, well, when my game was behaving itself and people were actually helping me, it was far easier than the end of Gears 1, which I guess should be the way it is. As you say, it's so much
what I mean.
further ahead in the timeline. He's still not fully in charge. Well, not in charge, but he's still learning the ropes, I suppose, of just massacring humans.
Yeah.
So, I whether they meant it to be easier, but they probably did, because I think
you can't kill it.
The Gears 1 boss fight is a right ball ache at times, especially on the harder difficulties. It's incredibly frustrating. This one I was pleasantly surprised how they made a more palatable Raam fight. They didn't want to make me tear my hair. Well, I haven't got any hair. Beard out.
Why can the Kryll come out in daylight to surround Raam while he's being shot at, but the Kryll need to be out at night in the rest of the game?
So isn't the sky seeded and covered? Isn't that why?
So that's what you're doing, is you're going around smashing the ground so that the seeders can come out to ink the sky. However, every time you control Raam, they keep saying, that yet. He's being defended by the Kryll, because the Kryll fly around him.
Yeah, I mean,
they're out in the daylight.
The sky, it's definitely not nighttime. Yeah, it's a good question.
It's not nighttime at the end of Gears 1, is it? Or is it?
No, but it's the sky is just completely inked. This is what I mean.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same concept. And I guess if the sky isn't inked, then yes, they just come out when it's night. So you think about where they come out in Gears of War 1, and we're getting maybe sort of picky here, but in Gears of War 1, they're in an area where the sky isn't inked, so they wait till it's night. But then at the end of Gears of War 1, the sky is inked by the seeders. And it's, because it's a really cool visual as well with the way. And I'm sure as I was playing this, despite it being daytime, and obviously daytime, I think the idea is supposed to be there is some cover, and you're just covering the city more and more. I'm not exactly sure. It's a good question.
It's a concentrated amount of them as well, isn't it? It's like a swarm around here. It's not a mass of them in the sky,
yes.
Which would seemingly not be possible. Well, it isn't possible, and that's the point of us inking the sky to allow that to actually happen. So maybe because it's a smaller amount that he's just got of his little mates.
Yeah.
We
Kryll mates.
Yeah. We just accept that. I don't know. I did think that myself when playing. David's point.
Yes, it's a fair point. I imagine that's how it's. I was going to say waved away. It's like, well, the skies are being inked. It's like, and like you say, it's a little group of them.
Do you want to play as Raam or not?
Yeah.
Do you want the Kryll or not?
Yeah.
There was just some cloud cover. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So apparently, and people might have extrapolated this more than they should have, but the artist for Barrick in the graphic novel confirmed, quote unquote, confirmed that he was influenced by Lemmy from Motorhead, which I thought was quite funny.
Not enough facial warts in that case. Then.
Yeah, I don't wonder if he has some, but yeah, just not as many. Yeah, he called him Bald Lemmy on steroids, which I thought was quite funny.
Yeah, well, I've been called that before.
Yeah, that and Kratos, right?
I used to get. Honestly, people used to make memes of Kratos. You know that one of Kratos throwing the PC monitor out.
Yes.
People did the gif of that. When I was IT guy at my last job, every time I was frustrated or couldn't fix something, people used to send me that meme of him chucking it out. Like, oh, is this how you're feeling now? Is it, mate? So yeah, yeah, I've definitely been there, boy.
Also, I was looking up the trivia. Apparently, Alicia is voiced by Laura Bailey, which I didn't realise I was playing, but obviously Laura Bailey voices Kate later in the franchise as well.
I did think her voice sounded a bit similar.
Yeah.
And initially I thought, is this somebody I'm supposed to know?
Yeah. So that was interesting.
That together. I just assume because Laura Bailey is so prolific these days. I just thought other game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah, she's the Laura Bailey. I was going to say she's the female.
She's the vaginal Nolan North.
Female Troy Baker, yeah, or Nolan North. Is that a fair way to describe? I don't know. Probably being massively sexist, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Is Nolan North still a thing these days? I was thinking about him the other day, thinking, no, he used to be in everything, and now it's just Troy Baker.
Did you see that really cool bit of marketing for Indiana Jones on coming to PS5, where they had Nolan North and Troy Baker meet in a room and talk? I'll try and find a link and send you after. I was like, marketing can be just, so soulless sometimes. I was like, whoever come up with that idea, that was actually a good idea. And they sort of make like meta jokes to the situation and stuff. So that was pretty cool.
He was in Black Ops 7.
Oh, was he?
He's still going then.
Yeah, and he's in... What's Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft? Is that a TV series? It's like an animated Tomb Raider show.
Oh, yeah, there is. I've seen clips of that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in that as well.
Okay.
He's still going.
Still trucking.
Destiny 2, yeah, you can still find him.
He's not struggling for work.
No. He's in Marvel Rivals as Rocket Raccoon as well. Right, that's enough about Nolan North.
Let's move on to some of the gameplay. A few little bits to say about the DLC here, but Alex, why don't you start us off? Do you have any highlights while playing through this? Any sections that stuck out to you, or anything you didn't enjoy, or any problems? How was your experience playing through Raam's Shadow?
Well, first of all, I liked the way I mentioned Barrick's Barrick's accent earlier. I enjoyed the way it was either like New York or sort of Boston. I enjoyed the way he sort of said like the cag.
Yeah.
The cag's coming. That was good. I also, this is a really slight note, but did anybody else notice, like right at the beginning, where when you're playing as Barrick and he's doing his voiceover, he says war is also about, well, the subtitle writing says war is also about turning tail and running like hell, but he actually says run your fucking ass off.
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's about knowing when to turn tail.
That has to be. I'd love it if that was on purpose.
Yeah.
So obviously, first of all, having not known about this, I assumed it was going to have us playing alongside Raam, absolutely wrecking shop. I genuinely didn't expect it to be letting me play as Raam, and so started the game thinking, this is not bad. This is pretty standard Gears fare. I'm having fun. And oh shit, I'm playing as Raam. Yeah. Brilliant. Those Kryll, whatever you want to call them, projectiles, I suppose.
The move is called the Kryll finger.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to give you the
Stick
old
your Kryll finger right in your cock hole. Yeah. Just the tip.
He goes like this, doesn't he? He's like,
he does.
He directs them.
Yeah, I enjoyed how long you could kind of like hold that down and kind of pan it around the area. That's something you kind of had to learn, wasn't it? Like if you let go of it too early, you can't just kind of like then add, fill up use the rest of the bar that you had. You had like a white bar of amount of time that you could use these Kryll, but if you let go of the trigger halfway through, you couldn't reuse the rest of that bar. You had to wait for them to return to his side before he could deploy them again. I thought that was a cool little touch that took me a bit of time to have to learn. not to just be sort of tapping the trigger, just hold it and let them go crazy. I really enjoyed the school. I thought all of the school was probably one of the strongest parts of the game. With the wretches trying to fuck with them, tickers under lunch tables, pinned down at the end of a courtyard by snipers, the Cerapedes in the locker room, and the dead dudes like dunked into basketball nets was making me laugh endlessly. I don't want to take too much away from everybody else when they get their turn. So I don't know if this is in anything else, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I really did enjoy the idea of having like the monitors for the overhead use of the Hammer of Dawn, where it's kind of like that. The really helicopter mission in Modern Warfare, where you get to see the heat sensor camera and just drop it down on top of the cedars. I thought that was a really nice touch. That's not been in anything before this.
That was it. It was new to this DLC. You're correct.
Yeah, I thought that was a very cool little touch.
Yeah, that's absolutely a highlight, and it's in the trailer for the DLC as well. And it's the thing that even when I think about it's so brief. Like again, it's the sort of thing like this could be you could see like an entire mission chapter or whatever you want to call it, where you're doing a bit more of that and deploying stuff. I love that they. Again, similar with the story, it's like, okay, does the DLC do anything that makes it worthwhile? Does it add anything? And it absolutely does. I mean, you get to play as Raam, as you said, for the first time and control the Kryll. Great. The Hammer of Dawn control center, great. We've got new things like the Theron Elite, that little sort of mini Raam, the Theron Elite, where, he's running around between the tunnels and stuff like that. It's the smooth, kind of slick Gears 3 gameplay, as you expect, but then you've got these little bits throughout, and I completely agree. The standout section is the school. I thought the tickers, as I was playing the tickers in the cafeteria, and I might have talked about this on the Let's Play that I did as well, or if I just imagined it, I was like, this could be in the movie, a scene of them creeping into the cafeteria and the tables start bustling around where it's sort of, they're not underground.
Visually, that was great.
That was proper like raptors in the kitchen in Jurassic Park, innit?
You got it. And so I thought that was really, really cool. There's some really cool ambush sections, and the way that there's sort of one near the start and the one where you get into City Hall as well, where they throw a lot at you. And I only played it on like normal difficulty, but as you're playing, you're like, that if you're playing this on hardcore, it's like, right, I would have to be covering more here and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I played it on.
You played this on hardcore, did you?
Yeah,
Good man. Because they're throwing boomers and like grenadiers, and then the Reavers are coming in, and then you're there outside City Hall.
The Reavers were an absolute nightmare. I know.
And you get to use the Vulcan gun as well. And
that was cool.
So I think it does, although it is a little bit rinse and repeat in some some ways, it's in the way you go through it. It does have these standout sections, and I thought, the Hammer of Dawn stuff was really good. I thought if I had issues, I thought the Berserker appearance, although it's cool to see a Berserker, the fight is really awkward because you just kind of have to navigate it towards a giant burning load of fire. At least I had to. Or
towards a car that you could then shoot after, or make it run into a car and then it will explode the car. But I felt like I ran out of those very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, right, what do I do now? And I just had to keep directing him to sort of bump into this big pile of burning flames, and it was like
I was like kiting, like playing Ring Around the Rosie with that thing for ages. Like, just charge at me, you twat!
Yeah,
stop walking. That was. I did like that there was a way to try and take it down without the Hammer of Dawn. I like the fact that they thought about that. Yeah, like how are we actually going to do this thing with bullets?
Yeah.
But the execution was probably one of the weaker points.
Yeah. It does have a nice mix of you're outside in a firefight, and now you're going through and navigating the corridors and stuff like that, which is what you sort of love from Gears of War. And so playing it, I was like, this isn't. This definitely feels. Sometimes DLC can sort of feel cheap and maybe not as much effort. It's like, no, this is straight out of a Gears of War game. Really, really solid stuff. There's a couple of more things I'll say for in a minute. But David, what about general gameplay and playing with this? Did you have any highlights or any issues with it as you went through?
Yeah, for the most part, I really enjoyed it. I found as the DLC went on, I became less sure of this opinion. but when I began playing Raam, I found him quite clunky and annoying. But I sort of got my eye in. I think Alex, it was you that said something a bit earlier on that was sort of encapsulates how I felt about him. In that, when I began using the Kryll finger, I was trying to sort of zap it at people when actually the way to use it was to guide the Kryll around the battlefield by holding it. By the time I sort of worked out how to play as him, I quite enjoyed it. Again, like I was trying to as I was playing, marry that up again with the fact that they're trying to create Raam out to be this massive, all powerful beast. So those sections I thought were quite easy, but I think they almost had to be, right. It had to be a bit of a power fantasy, because they couldn't have Raam getting his ass kicked, because then it just sort of undermines what they're trying to create with him as a character. The school section, I want to echo that. I thought it was great. I did have a giggle when the dead bodies were being dunked in the basketball
so
nets.
Funny.
That section,
both of them as well.
Yeah.
Great. Both sides of the court. Don't waste them.
I absolutely loved the wretches around the place. Were great. How they were sort of like almost mocking you as you were moving through the school.
Yeah.
And the sort of visual of the tickers going through in the school dining room under the tables. I absolutely loved that. That in addition to unfortunately, for it being the best part of the game, in my opinion, it also had the most frustrating part. I had quite a glitchy time trying to get through that bit in the gym hall. Why am I blanking on what that thing's called? Sorry.
The bleachers.
No, yeah, well, the bleacher bit, I couldn't
sucked.
figure out how to break. I didn't know how to shoot the boxes, so that took me a while, and it was just Tai going over and over again.
Yeah,
you've got to pull the bleachers out.
Yeah. I had that too.
This is
and then also.
Sorry, David, go on.
Carry on.
No, I'll get to
it. The berserker glitched out on me as well, because it just started following one of the AI characters around, and I couldn't make in the section where you've got to make it run into.
Yeah,
the
I found
boxes,
that too. Like I couldn't get his attention at all.
Like 3 times, because I was like, am I just not understanding how to do this? So I googled it, and it was like, oh no, he just will not follow me. So I had to just keep reloading until that happened.
Yeah.
Of course, I had multiple instances where every AI partner I had just stopped shooting. They were just sitting in cover for ages. I had to do the final Raam fight by myself because everybody else just gave the fuck up.
Yeah,
which was absolutely mental.
Yeah,
I found I had way more glitches than not game breaking, but soft reset glitches that you guys didn't have. And even when I did do a reset of the whole thing, I still got that Raam one at the end, and just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna have to just do this on my own. So I was hard. There was there's a set of stairs, and it had like an under section where you could kind of go in you'd have a bit of a roof over your head. I was just kind of hiding in there, just swapping back and forward between the two sides of the stairs so that I wouldn't get Kryll on my head, and I would just kite the massive Reaver all the way around slowly.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Yeah. It was a fucking
Did anyone's the other thing? I mean, it wasn't a gameplay issue. It just gave me a bit of a giggle. My Jack was a loose unit. So, like, for example, like he'd be like, how he's like set to like open doors and things like that. I walked up to him at one point, and he was just nowhere near the door, just welding something, cutting through something, just like nothing. And I was like, well, I don't know what he's up to.
Just keeping himself busy.
Supposed to be doing. Yeah. And then there was another one. He unlocked a door for me. I walked through the door, and then he like uncloaked down the corridor. I was like, how did he get there? I have no idea. He's like some wizard of a little machine. And then there's another bit. I walked into a room, and he was behind 2 gates, like locked gates, and I was like, how did you get in there? And then it was like later on, the gates unlock as you get attacked.
Oh, I remember that bit. Yeah,
wretches, and then he just come floating out. I was like, how did he even get himself in the first place? So yeah, my Jack was an absolute lunatic. But
I love the idea.
I found him quite entertaining.
I love the idea of like the horror sections of the school are just wretches. Like, not only is that kind of funny just to see them like fucking around with you, it also completely like negates any of the actual fear you should feel. Like, what's going on? Stuff's like moving on its own. This place is haunted, and it's just wretches.
Yeah,
the easiest ones, fine. But they don't act. Obviously, the characters don't act like that. They'll obviously all shout wretches in turn because that's how that dialogue works in these games. But it was funny to think that the actual terror of this school really is just the easiest enemy to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it has a classic bit where the wheelchair comes out of the corridor in front of you.
Yeah, they absolutely launch a wheelchair, and then you run around, and they've obviously ran off.
Yeah.
Just like children, isn't it? Mucking about. It's in a school. I guess that's the point.
So that is actually a point. The wretches in this, because they lock the door as well, or lock the gate. I think it's like playing a prank on you, and I think there's something. Either I read this or watched it somewhere a while ago. It's like this is like showing the wretches be intelligent or something, and it's one of the things they're toying with here. So yeah, I kind of like that idea. It's like like little kids in a school playing tricks on you. That must have been something they were considering. But what I was going to say is, because we talked about this a little bit the other week, and you were saying the issue you're having with the AI, and as it went on, I did get similar issues. So in the initial stages, and this is on my Let's Plays, I was talking about how I was doing nothing, and my team were in the firefights, they were taking everybody out, and you can watch the video, and I'm commenting on it like, I'm not having to lift a finger, this AI is almost too good, and how compared to something like Judgment, where I had issues where later in the game, they were all just stood against pillars doing nothing while I was having to do all the work. But then the more I played this, the later I got on, I had a very similar situation with the final boss fight, where they weren't doing a great deal. As much as I loved the school and cafeteria section, that was where I had an issue where at one point, I guess it's Kim and Tai maybe were both, or it might have been Kim and Alicia, I can't remember who. This is also on the video. They just could not navigate out the last section of tables, and because obviously they're trying to follow you, but they're trying to walk through a path they couldn't go, and I was trying to budge them and guide them, and it would not work, so I had to just progress through the next 2 rooms until it gets to the next loading thing where they pop into place and catch up with you. So
you haloed them.
Yeah. So I did have a real issue there with the AI, and it did seem to get worse as it went on, which was a little annoying. And I also had the exact same issue with the Berserker, where it would not come for me. It was just not interested in me at all, which is what made that fight awkward. And then the other thing you mentioned, David, about the trying to move the stairs, the bleachers, and with the box. So, and I'm sure I'm not misremembering this, but what it doesn't do, usually in games now, when it's trying to signpost stuff, these days we've got the old yellow paint and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And here, even in this Gears of War, if you've got to kick through something, it will shimmer. It's got the shimmer that shines. But the crates you've got a chainsaw, they're not shining at all. And I'm playing it
and
like...
you haven't encountered any crates like that I can remember in any other game. So it's not like it's like, oh, these are things that you should know how to deal with.
Yeah, I was just walking around like, what the hell do I do? And I was like, I'm going to try and chainsaw this crate. And it worked. And I was like, oh, well, I guessed right then, I suppose. So that was definitely a moment. I was like, maybe the crate should have been shimmering. But then also, I suppose there's part of me that's like, well, it's kind of fun that it wasn't. And I did have to figure it out.
No,
and
yeah.
It's that balance of trying to hold your hand.
I just wish Tai wouldn't be repeating himself over and over.
I thought it was Kim that kept saying it to me.
Kim, it might have been.
He
was doing my head in.
Shut up, man.
Yeah.
You need to unblock the bleachers.
Yes, I heard you.
Look for a way to unblock the bleachers.
I am. Jesus Christ. They say the same thing.
Didn't you have to use one of the terminals twice as well?
I think so.
Do you do it once and it doesn't work, and then you have to go back and do it again later or something? But I couldn't figure out what I'd done in between to make it work again, other than just kill some stuff and wait. Very confused. I had a bit as well. I mean, all my problems were just the AI not helping me. But there was one, I can't remember where it was, but there's basically you're outside and there's like a set of stairs that lead down to kind of like a circular area with some obviously chest high walls in it. And I pushed down these stairs and was like right at the front of it, and an e-hole opens up, and they're all yelling at me, "Someone close that e-hole!" So I'm trying to get it done, and I got completely like swarmed by all the locusts that came out of it. I couldn't believe how badly they kicked my ass, and I thought to myself like, Jesus, how has that overwhelmed me so quickly? So then I reloaded the checkpoint, turned around and realised that everybody else was back up the top of the stairs, just hiding behind a van, not shooting, just yelling at me to do it by myself. And so I would like ran away towards the guys to try and kite the locust against my own team to force them to fight back for me. And the locust didn't bother to come. They just sat and waited at the bottom.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of in between these two sets of twats, not actually doing their jobs of killing each other. So I had to just sort of run down, shoot a few, run back up. It was funny, but at the time I was so confused.
Yeah, it is an unfortunate mix of success with that AI, and I guess it's a weird system because you've got your team of 4, and your team of 4 can sometimes be bot controlled or controlled by a player, and it must be a lot of work to think, right, who's going to be targeting who. If you want to get picked up as well, you got to basically pray that you're near one, because you could be right at Kim's feet and he's just sort of watching you like, I suppose I'll pick you up then.
Yeah, exactly. Just crawling into their shins like, do something, press the X button.
Yes, but
my leg's itching, what's that down there? Never mind.
But yeah, like with the story, as I said, as long as the gameplay is adding a few things that you've not seen before, I think it can make it worthwhile. So I had a good time with the
I
gameplay.
Still had a great time.
Yeah.
This is exactly the kind of thing I wanted to start the year off.
Yeah.
Like having done some sort of bigger games, but towards the end of this year, and David and I had pointed out on a Winter is You, we've been playing turn-based strategy JRPGs on our little Retroid pockets, and then now to just pick up something and just chainsaw some dickheads for 3 hours was really, really good.
Yeah. Let's move on to presentation. There's a few things to say.
I will say,
here. Oh, sorry, David.
3 hours is a nice short DLC. However, I sort of realised as I was playing it that Gears of War 1's only about 5 hours, so this is like a chunky DLC.
Yeah.
It certainly did. It filled those 3 hours with plenty of substance. That's for sure.
And
lots of variety.
The only other thing I've sort of written down here as you were chatting is that I really wanted to sort of echo that. I think it possibly because I've been out of the habit of playing Gears of War, but this DLC felt chaotic in a way that I absolutely loved. Like everything was just exploding. The volume of enemies that were coming at me from the beginning was awesome, and it really did it was fun to play. It felt like frantic in a way that I enjoyed, and also it did a good job of sort of marrying itself up with the story. If you're sort of trying to evacuate a city that's fallen down around your ears, it really felt like that, because you were just getting attacked from all angles. It was great.
Yeah, I couldn't believe sometimes that, sorry. You've got a dude with a mulcher, you've got 2 boomers, and the guys riding on what are them things that they ride on? Blood mounts or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, is this real?
Yeah.
Is there a special weapon I'm supposed to use to deal with this? Because this can't be a Lancer thing. And again, when you've got that bit outside where those 2 Reavers land, I'd already wasted what was that gun called that you said?
Vulcan.
Yeah, I'd already wasted that on the usual cannon fodder, and I was like, well, I'm fucked. How am I supposed to deal with these 2 Reavers with just my Lancer, with not a lot of bullets left as well? I couldn't believe the level of challenge they threw at you, and I really relished it. It was really really good fun. I think in co-op that would have been great fun.
Oh, I was thinking that the whole time. Yeah.
You guys have perfectly segued into the next thing, because I have a point about that. That nature of the chaotic gameplay, and there's the deployment of the Locust through e-holes, jumping out the ground, rappelling down ropes.
Oh, I loved
that. Landing on the Reavers. It's absolutely stuffed. And this is, obviously gameplay cool, but it's a large part credit to this later period of the 360 started to get really good and really impressive with games. And although I think, and so we'll talk about presentation. Judgment looks better than this. It's got some better lighting and stuff like that. But here is where you can see it starts to turn. Gears of War 3 can look quite muddy, but even this has some really, really nice stuff. And I think many times it did look incredible. There was plenty of atmosphere, plenty of great lighting, the classic cog blue lights. There's some other bits on my Let's Plays where I'm just stopping and looking at the burning building as well, like inside the burning building. And I've got, as you said, David, my note here, just those firefights feeling so busy and chaotic is my note. And there's so much jammed in there. And so it looks good. And for it to, all right, we mentioned the AI bugs and stuff like that, but I'm playing it and it's not juddering or stuttering as all this shit is going down. So presentation,
it ran very smoothly.
I thought it was looking great. But yeah, David, how do you feel it looked? And obviously Gears of War's got its style, that sort of Art Deco-y style, and that it's sort of, and then lots of 80s stuff as well. There's CRTs lying about the place. Although I did notice that in this, and I think this might be the first time, but they got some flat screens in this, and I was like, oh, they've upgraded a little bit.
Retrofuturism is ditched.
Yeah.
I do find it funny sometimes because I don't know, if you're being a bit cheeky, you could describe a lot of the the characters and stuff that happens in Gears of War sort of meatheads the game at times, and I do find it funny that like stuff that you've got to interact with almost plays into that in a way that I sometimes think it's deliberate. It's like, oh, here's a button, let's make it a massive one button machine that you've got to go and push. I loved it. I thought presentationally it was great. Like you say, it's got the classic stuff that Gears does really well, burning buildings, stuff that the bit that jumped to mind when you were talking about that is I thought the bank looked amazing. I like that you sort of enter and it's like this wooden like traditional bank, and it's one of the not few but one place where the sort of cog imagery really fits with the bank vaults and things like that. I really enjoyed the way they did that. It was lovely. And again, like just to go back to the school looked great as well. Again, visually, presentationally, the ticker section is something that's going to stick with me for a long time, because just the way the table was popping as you see them all running in, I just loved that. So good.
Yeah, the bank section with the burning of the money is quite fun, because there's all this big pile of cash, and then the flamer Locust comes in just like, fuck you all, and just burning all this money. You're like, no, I might need that in this, post-apocalyptic world. But yeah, the school has, the light, the god rays through the windows and stuff like that. And I did a lot of walking slowly. Look, this is what I tend to do for these things: walking slowly, just scanning around. And you've got the benefit of, I played this on Series X, so it's
we all did. So I guess there's kind of that.
It looks nicer, but
us.
Even with that in mind, it's like, look, this looks so good for a 2011 DLC or 2011 game. And the 360 really did start to pump out some good stuff. And we talked at the start about Unreal games and how they look now. It's funny where we're at compared to where we used to be. And I do have faith in the Coalition. They've classically been, because originally obviously it's so tied to Epic and the Unreal Engine. Even
it was a sort of hand-picked Gears team, wasn't it? So there's a lot of Gears experience in there.
They're known as the people, they like subcontract on for other people to get the most out of Unreal Engine. And like, if you play Gears 5 today, it's like that's an Unreal Engine, and it looks better than every other Unreal Engine game. It's kind of obscene, really.
Do you think, I suppose this has been true for a couple of Gears games now, but it's just jumped into my head, so I'm just going to chuck it out there for your thoughts, both of you, that I guess like traditionally a new Unreal Engine would cause a new Gears game to come along, and it was almost like a showpiece. Look what this engine can do. Do you think it matters now that the people that are making Gears of War aren't behind the Unreal Engine anymore? It's a sort of different companies at this stage, isn't it? Because Epic are off doing their own thing.
We'll probably have to find out when CE Day, because we don't really know. That's not been proven yet or tested, has it? Is Gears 5 Unreal 5, did you say?
No, it's not Unreal 5. No. And that's another reason why Rod Ferguson said he left. He was like, the thought of having to start on the new engine, and this is why we're so many years later down the line. It was 2026. Gears 5 was 2019, so it's they started, and there's lots that's happened in between now and then. But I'm sort of confident, and I believe that they're so technically, and they're probably still got good links to Epic and Unreal, because they've been working with them for so many years. So I'm fairly confident. But as for here, Alex, what about you? Is there anything that stood out to you, or anything you didn't like about how this looked, how it sounded, playing through Raam's Shadow?
I mean, I suppose minor gripes would just be related to how old it is. Sometimes textures were popping in when a scene had just loaded up, and I guess it doesn't run at 60, right? That's not just my eyes.
I guess
deceiving me.
It's running at 60 for me, but you have to turn the FPS boost on. So I don't know if
Are you joking?
No, and because I discovered this when I started my Let's Plays. I was like, what's going on here? This is supposed to be 60 FPS, because I thought my footage was recording wrong, and then I had to manually turn it on. And I don't know if that's just something.
How did you do that? Is that in the Xbox menu or on the game?
When you go to the game, you can press like manage game and add-ons or something like that.
Fuck's sake.
Usually it's automatic. I don't know why I had to turn it is, on for this. So, I just
pressed the home button and saw it said, resolution boost or whatever it is.
But you didn't see the FPS
Auto HDR. No, and I was like, oh, well, I guess it's a DLC. They probably couldn't be bothered.
No.
And I still still felt it ran okay, but I was thinking, oh god, I wish this was 60.
Yeah,
and it could have been.
Yeah,
oh, that's so annoying.
Yeah, you have to switch it on. It is annoying. I don't know why that happens. Might be something to do with the fact it is a DLC add-on, like something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, what was you saying there?
But no, that's it. That's it. Really, just the texture popping was sometimes quite noticeable.
Yeah.
But it's it's over 10 years old now. It's over 15 years old.
Yeah.
So.
Ouch. Something that did just occur to me is when we were talking about gameplay and some of the bugs and stuff we were getting. You mentioned that one where you had the bit you had to reset and you had the grayed out checkpoint or something like that.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah. Where it just didn't let me reload checkpoint. It just said restart chapter. So I assumed I just started a new one and then it actually hadn't and had to go back about 45 minutes.
I had a really weird one where just as I was moving into the last section, and I wasn't recording for a Let's Play, but I did record a clip, so I'll put it in the edit, is I finished, went through the door, and then I was going through the door, and then it just went, boom, objective failed, and the screen went red, and I was like, what? What the hell happened? And I pressed reload checkpoint, but then it just continued the game.
And just, well, that's the more preferable of the two bugs.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, was weird and clearly a bug, and I don't know why that happened. So again, maybe those little things, it's like, yeah, they're rushing through and putting out a DLC. There's little tiny bits of polish that could have been done better. But, it's all here, the chaotic nature, the sound of the firefights. I thought, voice acting for Barrick was really good despite the cheesy lines. Laura Bailey as Alicia, I guess it was a surprise to me it was Laura Bailey. It was fine, I suppose. This wasn't one where I came away thinking the voice actor performances were incredible or anything like that. It was more just the vibe of Gears was there in the presentation with the visuals and the sound, but nothing that sort of truly blew me away. I was just happy with it. And as I mentioned, it doesn't look as good as Judgment. Go and look at Judgment. Whatever you think of that game, is one of the last games on the 360 from 2013, and it's insane how good it looks. it's kind of mad, but here, perfectly serviceable and acceptable. Anything else for presentation, David, Alex, before we move on to final takeaways for DLC?
No, I feel like I've got all my things out there.
Lovely. So, we've not had many story DLCs in Gears, as I said. There's only been 2. There's been Hive Busters, which is obviously very, very good and coming much later in our coverage. And then we've got this. And because obviously they focused on the multiplayer a lot, most DLC was multiplayer packs and weapon skins and all this, and modes. For me, at the end of this, I'm coming away thinking, this is just something I wish we got with every game, with every Gears release, because it shows that it isn't just a multiplayer shooter. You can have these little story sections. You can go to these places in history, as I've mentioned. Look at stuff from the perspective of the Locust. Yes, it was weird. It's fun playing as Raam, and then weird to be brutally murdering the cog soldiers. But, it's an experience that you're not going to get anywhere else. So it's £8. It's something that I bought back at the time, so I didn't feel the price of it these days, but I think is worth every penny. Alex, what's your final thoughts and sort of what they jammed into this, and if it was worth that money?
Yeah, it was definitely worth that money. Well, as I said earlier, when I first started it up, I thought, yeah, this is pretty good. It's sort of standard Gears stuff, but then it really opens up into some really excellent, well thought out locations. Playing as Raam is completely unique to the series and a really, really good fun touch in that. There are some great set pieces. As we've said, you feel overwhelmed at times, which feels like a real sort of skin of your teeth win when you get to the end of it. I really don't have any complaints about the gameplay in this section, other than maybe the slightly awkward Berserker bit that we touched on. But I had an absolute blast playing this. Like I couldn't put it down. It's not too long to take away too much time from something slightly newer, and the price point, as you said, I think it's worth every penny of £8 for 3 to 4 really, really solid hours of varied Gears gameplay that actually has some meaning for the rest of the plot, and ends with such a cool moment of the setup for Raam versus Kim in Gears 1. Thoroughly worth it. especially if people haven't played it, like you owe it to yourselves. It's really, really good fun.
Very well put. David, how about you? What's your final thoughts and takeaways from Raam?
Yeah, I just basically echo everything Alex says. I think it's a great use of a DLC. It ramps up what Gears of War 3 at that time was doing very, very well, and then also allows you to play as a Locust, so it sort of does what I want. Does everything that I would want a DLC to do. It adds depth and flavour to the story. It gives you something new to do that the game didn't offer before, and it takes what the game was offering before and sort of ramps it up to 11 or the next level. I just think it's a genuinely good bit of DLC. Alex said in a text when we were chatting about that it was something along the lines, so I'm about to butcher what Alex has said, but something along the lines of, this is a great bit of DLC from a time when DLC was proper DLC.
Yeah.
And I when I started playing it, I was like, I think he's got a bit excited here. But by the time I'd finished the DLC, I was like, oh no, he's spot on. He's absolutely spot on, as usual.
Yeah, it's exactly that. You don't really get it as much these days. You know, we live in a world these days where the big AAA games come out, and then we get an expand alone or a big expansion that people kind of expect to have this huge thing, you know, because you're generally paying 30 quid for it or something like that, and it's got to keep you busy for another 20 to 30 hours. Whereas this is like, no, this is giving me just what I need. And like you said, David, and I agree, as long as it's giving you something, as long as it's not just completely treading water and repeating old ground, you know, which this does a little bit, but it adds those little bits in it that you don't get anywhere else and that are new to Gears, and that's what I think DLC should do. It should give
Absolutely.
you a reason to kind of go back and expand, you know, whatever it's trying to say. So I was very happy with it. Before we wrap up, and I've just kind of haphazardly chucked these in here just because I've had a busy morning, but Alex, if you wouldn't mind, I believe, let me just put this here. I have got some audience write-ins. Some of our listeners gave some opinions.
Yes.
Take us through these. We've got some thoughts from some of the listeners on Raam's Shadow, which I've been asking, what do people think about it? So let's get their voices on the show today.
All right, so we had at Mr. Potassium K19, genuinely one of my favourite DLCs from the franchise. A little camping expansion where you get to play as the Locust for a bit was an awesome decision. Playing as General Raam was so fun, and the story was mostly interesting, but obviously has some flaws. I think that's largely what we agree with. We have at Reaper and then a bunch of numbers I'm not going to read out. Raam's Shadow was a perfect DLC. Getting to play as the legend himself, Raam, was so freaking cool. Just wish it was a bit longer. HB the Warrior says, a very fulfilling experience that helps add a new layer to events of E-Day. That game only players may have missed. It also helped paint Raam in a far more sinister light when we got in one with the boss fighting himself. Sorry, let me start that again. It also helped paint Raam in a far more sinister light than what we got in one, with the boss fight itself feeling both challenging and worthy of his return. Yeah, absolutely. And lastly, we got Hellspartan94. Raam's Shadow was an excellent DLC that added lore and allowed the player to become one of the coolest antagonists on Xbox at the time. It was also great to have more time with Kim and see how him and Raam had a past. And that is bang on. Absolutely bang on. Oh, there's more.
There's one more, yeah.
He's just snuck another one in.
Yeah, he did. At Gearshead84, top 3 best Gears DLC of all time. Raam and the Theron Elite is peak gaming. Sword off with that bayonet and controlling Kryll, it makes a grown man cry.
Yeah, it was important to say it because, yeah, this has a new weapon. It has basically the Locust version of the sword off shotgun, which is pretty nuts. And again, it's just another one of that. Is the DLC adding stuff? And yes, the Locusts are obviously right. We need our version of that. So
thanks for the feedback, lads.
Yeah. Thank you very much, everybody, for letting us know your thoughts. And I think that's it's basically in line with what we've been saying. This is a really solid DLC, and you know it's short and snappy. It's very cheap, absolutely worth your time if you've not played it. And that about does it for our Gears of War chat today. Looking ahead, we've got. I mean, this is going to hopefully, despite my negativity at the start of the episode and saying, is E-Day going to release? It should be a big year for Gears of War. And I've been feeling, like you, Alex, this was a great way to start the year. I've been feeling very refreshed and excited to talk about Gears of War and check out some other stuff. And we're going to be moving on to The Slab, where's my book gone?
There is no audiobook version of this, folks, so you're going to have to read it.
You're going to have to read it on an e-reader mostly unless you want to pay a lot of money.
The old-fashioned way, which is it's a thick book. And as I've said on our social media, if you want to read along with us, you can. Start reading now. By the time the next episode comes around, we should have all finished it, and you can join in and hear our retrospective on the slab, which is the next.
I know nothing about this.
Yeah,
me too.
So I'm looking forward to this.
I think it's something.
A slab is another name for a prison, right?
It's the prison, yeah. So
prison.
It's going to be that sort of stuff. And I haven't started it yet, so I need to get cracking. But that's going to be coming up next, unless we do, out of nowhere, get some E-Day news between now and then. Which, it's not impossible. But
it's a big book, as you said, so there's time.
Yeah, I'll be reading it for 6 months. I've got to commit. I've got to get myself down and read it. Yes, but that about wraps it up for today. We will be back again soon. Obviously, if you like what you heard today, and even if you didn't, please do give us a like and subscribe on YouTube, a rating and a review on your podcast feed of choice. You can find Gears Intel on social media, on Twitter, on Blue Sky. Search for Gears Intel. You will find us. You can also find David on Blue Sky at David... Wait, is that right? David
Super Smiley.
Super
L-I-E.
Super Smiley. Links will always be in the description, and Alex is at. You're just Thrillex on Blue Sky, aren't you? You're not. Super
I
Thrillex.
managed to get in there with the correct one rather than having to add super or a number or anything.
And I am K_D. No, I'm not. I'm KDB- in it on Blue Sky. Whatever. It's probably on the screen or in the description. You all know how to use the internet. You can figure it out. You can find us. If you can't find us, well, then maybe I don't want you to. If you can't work it out yourself. So. Yes, but we look forward to it. There will be what's going on. There's stuff coming up. Alex, do you have any housekeeping and things coming up?
We've got our Game of the Year pod for the for a winner review. That should be out on. When are you putting this out?
Probably tomorrow or the next day.
Okay, so that should be out either the tomorrow from when you're hearing this or the same day as you're hearing this on the Monday. So there's that coming up, and then you are joining us, I believe, on Tuesday for a recording for the 1996 video game draft plus the 2026 predictions as well. So looking forward to that. That's the housekeeping from that side. That
covers all bases, David, right? Unless you've got anything to add to that.
Nah, I know.
Yes, do go and listen to A Winner Is You as well. You can find David and Alex. And sometimes me. I'm sometimes on there. Also, come and check out First Aid Spray for Resident Evil coverage and Tapes from the Waste for Fallout.
Good time to get involved in First Aid Spray.
Yeah.
Given what's happening in February.
Very
Did you watch the Resi Showcase, David?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I watched it. Interesting.
I was really dismissive. I'm at the stage where, given who you two are, I don't have much choice in the matter, but I'm enough in on this game that I'm just going to play it anyway. So I want to know as little as possible from now on in the run-in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm actively avoiding.
Okay.
For
coverage.
First Aid Spray, we've got a pre-Requiem episode coming up. Like in the 2 weeks before the game comes out, there's going to be some stuff on there. Then obviously
pre-Requiem.
Yeah, and then obviously probably about a week after the game comes out, give or take, we're all going to get together and do our big review. Fallout fans, come and listen to Tapes from the Waste because obviously season 2 of the show is on and we are covering that on Tapes from the Waste as well. So you can't get enough of us, is what I say. We're all over the place. We're krilling all over your cogs.
We are.
But that does it for Gears of War today. Thank you to my co-hosts for joining me, and thank you everybody for listening. Until next time, remember the fallen.
Bye.
Bye.